Huh? What do you call that? What do you call that? Like, he's been trialed by the ICC. Like he is in the Netherlands. He's not in a jail. Really, due process. You're concerned about due process. Then what about the victims? What about the victims? What about the people that he killed, who were neither addicts who were a threat to the nation, who were not endangering the lives of others, who were not even drug users, who were simply just advocating for stopping the war, and who are simply just, who have simply just, unfortunately and tragically, been in the middle of the crossfire. Like, they're not even involved, and they've just been shot because they were, affiliated by someone who uses drugs a lot. Due process. That is basically what is happening with Duterte right now. Like, he is in a court because he also deserves a right to a fair trial. Wow. Like, what, did you simply think the International Criminal Court was just going to put him in an ICC detention center and just do nothing? No, that is not what the court is for. The court is there to present evidence for and against the detention or the imprisonment of a particular individual. That's what courts are for. Hell, tens of thousands of civilians in this nation did not have due process. They weren't given a fair trial. They were simply just killed out of nowhere because the police felt like it. And also because Duterte felt like it. Sure, we can call Duterte names. He's this, tyrant, authoritarian, dictator of some sort. But he's still an individual. Yes, Duterte is now 80 years old. His birthday was on the 28th of March. Yes, he celebrated his birthday in the Netherlands. Wow, what a very nice birthday. Like, Duterte is 80 years old. He has some hearing problems. He's very old, and he's ailing. Like, he is dying slowly. But that's why he is in a court. That's why he is not in an international jail with maximum security. That is why he is still not in prison right now. Due process. What the hell? He has due process. Don't worry. Next is presumption of innocence. A fundamental legal principle, the presumption of innocence, states that a person is considered innocent until proven guilty. Critics emphasize that this principle must be strictly adhered to in Duterte's case. Yes, sure, we can do presumption of innocence. Okay, I think he is innocent until proven guilty. There is a lot of evidence that he committed a war on drugs, but in a court of law, let's just presume that he was not involved in any of that. Let's just present the evidence. Let us just present the arguments, the counter-arguments, and everything in between. Let's just say he allegedly killed tens of thousands of people, and let the court handle the rest. Okay? Let's just do that. Let's move on. Political landscape destabilization. Duterte's arrest could create a power vacuum, exacerbating existing political divisions, leading to instability. The Philippine political scene is already complex, and this event could cause further disruptions. Power vacuum? I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be a power vacuum. Because again, I have stated this just, before this part of the episode, that Duterte is now just a private citizen. There are still a lot of Dutertes in power right now. Vice President Sara Duterte, Mayor Baste Duterte, I think it was. Is it? Hold on. Let me check. Okay, there's also Representative Paulo Duterte. Mayor Sebastian Baste Duterte, who is 37. Oh my God. God damn. Sebastian's 37? Oh wow. Vice President Duterte, Representative Duterte, Mayor Duterte. These three people hold immense power. And yes, those were three different people. I've just mentioned their names. Power vacuum? No. There is no power vacuum once Duterte is arrested. No, there is no power vacuum. No. Let's just move on. Domestic legal mechanisms focus. Proponents of this argument believe that the Philippine judicial system should be given the chance to investigate and prosecute any alleged crimes. They argue that domestic legal mechanisms should be exhausted before resorting to international intervention. We had nearly 3 years to do that, and we refused to do so. That says a lot. Let's move on. ICC as court of last resort. The ICC is intended to be a court of last resort, intervening only when national courts are unwilling or unable to act. Some argue that the Philippine judicial system has not been given sufficient time to address the allegations. They were given so much time, okay? They could have cooperated with the International Criminal Court. Like, the ICC's investigation began in 2011. Davao's High Court, if there is any, or even the Supreme Court of the Philippines, should have maybe started investigating at that time. And also, intended when national courts are unwilling or unable to act. You hear that? Unwilling or unable to act. So, which one is the Supreme Court here? Yes, unwilling. It is unwilling to act. And also unable, because I said, or I actually haven't said this, but it is because Duterte was president when the war on drugs happened. So the Supreme Court couldn't do much about it at that time. But now that it has the full power, it's unwilling to do so. No wonder the ICC is getting involved. Yes, it is a court. It is a court of last resort. That's why that's why the ICC intervened. Come on. Let's move on. Selective prosecution concerns. Critics argue that the ICC may be unfairly targeting Duterte while overlooking other potential human rights violations. This raises questions about the court's impartiality and fairness. Oh boy. International Criminal Court. That's the ICC. That's the name of the ICC. International Criminal Court. International, okay? International. I don't think there is a sort of bias into this. Okay, sure, maybe there is, but that's because we're human, and also it's because the ICC is not overlooking on other human rights violations in the world. They're simply just unable to act on those human rights violations. Next, complexities of the war on drugs. The war on drugs is a highly contentious issue. Some argue that the context of the situation, including the severity of the drug problem, must be considered when evaluating the legality and morality of the actions taken. Killing people is wrong. Okay? That's a very simple point. Come on. That's a very, very simple point. Killing people is wrong, no matter what. Whether they're a murderer or an addict or someone who's poor, someone who's rich, someone who's corrupt, a former president, a former representative, any of that. Killing people is wrong no matter what. That's why there is due process. When you allege serious crimes, it has to be evaluated by a legal authority, like the ICC. That's why Duterte is currently in the ICC dealing with this. Next, national security arguments. Some argue that the actions taken during the war on drugs were necessary to protect national security. They contend that the drug problem posed a significant threat that required extreme measures. Drugs can be a threat, but not a national threat. Most of the killings happened in the Luzon area, I think. Maybe even in Mindanao there could be some, there could be a lot. I don't know much about the what do you call this? The variation of the deaths because of the war on drugs between the island groups and the provinces, okay? I'll admit that. But national security. Are drug addicts a threat to national security? I don't know. Maybe not. But probably not. National security. Crazy. Next, potential for historical revisionism. Some perceive the prosecution of Duterte as an attempt to rewrite the narrative of his presidency. They fear that it could lead to a distorted view of his actions and legacy. As far as I can tell, Duterte's campaign when he ran for president was that he would kill drug addicts. I don't think that is a distorted view of his presidency. Sure, we could add in some footnotes that that's not all what he did, but also we should point out that that's what the main point of his presidency. That's the main point of him running to be the president. Yeah, you know, yeah. Historical revisionism? No, we're just writing what's true. Next, evidence reliability concerns. Critics question the strength and reliability of the evidence against Duterte. They emphasize the importance of rigorous evidentiary standards and due process in any legal proceedings. There are so many documentaries made about Duterte's war on drugs. There are tens of thousands of victims. There are tens of thousands of survivors. There are tens of thousands of victims. There are tens of thousands of family members of the said victims. There are also tens of thousands of perpetrators. So, evidence reliability concerns. Maybe we should just present them in a way that is true, factual, accurate, and fairly represented. Next, unintended consequences. Duterte's arrest could have unforeseen and potentially negative consequences, such as radicalizing his supporters or creating further political instability. Oh my God. Okay, unintended consequences. I think we're experiencing that right now, where so many people are protesting the arrest, and I don't think there has been any record of social unrest, but once this trend continues, where there are more and more people protesting, yes, there will be negative consequences. And I don't think they are unintended at that point. Next, martyr figure creation. His arrest could inadvertently transform Duterte into a martyr figure, potentially increasing his popularity and influence among his supporters. Let me just ask. The word martyr carries a significant weight of meaning, and its definition has evolved over time. The core definition of martyr is a person who voluntarily suffers death rather than renounce their religious beliefs. However, the term has broadened to include anyone who sacrifices their life or suffers greatly for a principle or cause. Duterte is already incredibly popular. I don't think he could get any more popular at this point, because there are millions of Filipinos who are in favor of his arrest. So, martyr, maybe a long time ago, maybe now, I don't know. But he is incredibly popular, and I don't think he could get any more popular than this. Martyr figure, though, I don't think he will die because he got arrested. I just think he will die because of old age or natural causes, something like that. Remember, he is 80 years old. And finally, selective justice perception. Focusing solely on Duterte while ignoring other potential human rights violations is seen as unjust. This perception undermines the credibility of the legal proceedings. Selective justice. How can I say this? There is only one international criminal court, okay? It cannot handle any more than a single group or a single individual at a time. After Duterte, there will be someone else who's going to be arrested and then tried in the International Criminal Court. It is not an argument of, if this if the arrest of Duterte was quite selective. It's just when they will be tried and arrested. In the eyes of the law, someone who commits a crime is a criminal. And if we don't hold them accountable, there will be something or some sort of organization that will hold them accountable. You see? Okay. I am done with this. Yeah, I think that is it for now, for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. That was a bit long, or a bit too long for a first episode, but you know, it is a first episode. Thank you so much for watching this, whatever the hell this is. I don't know. Yeah, I will see you in the next one. Yeah, bye-bye.